Welcome back to my channel, everyone. This is the next level life hacks where we take the next steps needed to go to the next phase in life. Now, this is another in the series of Airbnb that we'll be looking at the steps that you should be taking to go to the next level in being a host. But today we're going to look at the 10 biggest mistakes that you can make as an Airbnb host. And stay tuned for number 10 because that one is going to be really shocking for you. So the first one that we're going to be looking at, number one, is poor communication. Now, all of these items are important, but the poor communication is extremely important for a host. When I just started out in the Airbnb industry, I took pleasure in making sure, or I made it a point of emphasis to make sure that my phone was very near to me. So at any hour of the day, whether I'm in a meeting, whether I'm going to bed, if I'm even at family dinners or outings with friends, my phone was always near to me. The reason for this, I wanted to make sure that I was always reachable for my guests. And especially in those few months that I wanted to become a super host, I made it extremely important to me. Now, what I found during those few months is that the guests were extremely surprised when I responded to them in a fast manner. It was as if it was not normal in the Airbnb industry for a host to respond in a timely manner. And when I realized that this was important to my guests, I paid more attention to it. So fast communication, quick communication, and professional communication is extremely important. Second point is cleanliness. Man, how important is this? And we went over this in more detail in our previous conversation, in our previous video, the 10 steps to becoming a super host, that we implored or looked at the importance of cleanliness in your property. Now, if you're doing it yourself, have a checklist. I recommend having a checklist just to remind yourself of all the important areas that you need to go over. Like if you need to use a lint remover to roll over your pillows or over your sofas, or to make sure you check under the beds or under the sofas to make sure that nothing has been left behind by a previous guest. Okay? The third one would be inaccurate listings. And this is extremely important because if your listing is not accurate, now the third point would be inaccurate listings. And this is pretty important because you will be graded by how accurate your listing looks. And this comes in the review of the guest at the end of their stay. One of the areas that you are judged on or reviewed on as a host is how accurate your listing is. Don't go, as they would call it, catfishing. Don't post a set of photographs just to get the click, or what they might call clickbait. Then when a guest checks into your property, it is looking completely different. And not completely different in a good way, but completely different in a bad way. That means that what you had posted is not what the guest is seeing when they check in. This can make or break you as a host because the guest will be immediately turned off and will be disappointed in their booking. And have you ever heard of buyer's remorse? That is what is going to happen. They are going to have buyer's remorse and a regret for booking your property. The next one is to be neglecting maintenance. Very important. What we do is that when we are cleaning our properties, we go through real quickly to check all the appliances to make sure that they are working. And it can be a good pastime. If you're cleaning or if you're having someone that's cleaning, turn on the television, watch some YouTube videos, listen to music, just to make sure that your internet connection is working. And by the way, guys, internet or Wi-Fi connectivity is extremely important to any guest. That's one of the first things that they do when they come on your property. They connect to your Wi-Fi for better streaming, or they check the television to make sure that the streaming services are available so that they can watch their favorite movies or their favorite programs, especially what we're doing now, YouTube. All right, check your kettles, check the toaster, check the stove, check the oven, check the microwave, check in the refrigerator, check the freezer that it is freezing, check the light switches, hair dryers, everything. If you have a washer and a dryer, it's good if you wash at the property, so at least you'll know if the washer and the dryer are working. Check the lamps at the bedside if they are working. Check the iron. Check the curling iron as well. Check all the appliances. Also, if you're seeing a leak or if you're seeing a faulty doorknob or lock, do not delay. Things that you will take for granted in your own property or at your own home, a guest will not take it lightly. Remember, this guest is having the first experience, maybe the only experience at your property. Therefore, certain things that are not working will not be overlooked. So make sure you maintain the property. The next one is overpricing or underpricing. And this will affect you as a host as well, and it will affect your profitability. If you are overpricing your property, then you will see a significant decline in your bookings. If you are underpricing your property, you will see a significant decline in your profitability, and then you'll be wondering why your ends are not meeting as they would normally say. It does not mean that your property is not doing well. It means that you might have the wrong pricing structure. I personally practice what is known as dynamic pricing. This is where you watch the market, you watch the demand and the supply, watch the seasons, and you adjust your price accordingly. You can read up more about it, or you can contact us if you'd want to get more strategies regarding dynamic pricing. One tip is, if it is that your property is being booked very regularly and you have a over 90 or 95% occupancy rate, it could be that you are pricing your property too low. Pricing your property or any product or service that you are selling also has an indication on your self-esteem and your self-worth. It goes very deep, my subscribers. Therefore, if you find yourself being nervous at increasing your price, then you should look within yourself and ask yourself, is it that I'm feeling insecure, or I am undervaluing my worth as an individual, or my business, or my product? So it's very serious and can actually affect your profitability. Okay? As usual, I'm not sure what number I'm at, but I'm sure, guys, that I'm going to give you 10, nothing more, nothing less. So the next one is going to be ignoring local laws and regulations. Very serious. If you are in the Jamaican industry, you need to test the temperature of the market as you are going in. You will realize that recently there has been some court rulings that have restricted Airbnb operations in certain developments, and there are ongoing conversations and discussions which you need to keep abreast of if it is that you plan to make Airbnb an investment option, whether short, medium, or long term. If you are overseas, you need to check with the city or the state that you are in to make sure that you are abiding by the laws. In Georgia, for example, there are certain housing taxes or accommodation taxes or guest taxes that you have to adhere to. In New York City, some strict rules were put in place. So therefore, before you invest your hard-earned cash, let's face it, subscribers, if you were very wealthy, you would not be here with me trying to take things to the next level. It means that you have the ambition, you have the drive, you have some savings, or you have some disposable income that you're wondering how to invest that. And Airbnb has come across your radar. It's one of the options you'd like to pursue. Therefore, please take it from someone who has made several mistakes in investments. Do your due diligence to check the demand in your area, the local laws and regulations, to make sure that once you invest your hard-earned funds, you will not be shut down by the state, the government, or, here's the next killer, the Homeowners Association. I don't even want to say what they remind me of. But homeowners associations, those HOAs, you have to be careful about their rules and regulations. Therefore, if you are going into a development to rent a property or to purchase a property with the intention of setting up an Airbnb, make sure that they are allowing Airbnb or short-term rentals. The next one is unprofessional photos or descriptions. Remember that you are not writing for yourself. Remember that this is a platform that is highly professional. You are having persons viewing or prospective guests from different backgrounds. Therefore, keep it simple, keep it professional. You hear the saying, keep it simple, stupid? That does not, however, mean that you are going to go over into an unprofessional style of writing or unprofessional photographs. It will only harm you. There are ways that you can look into different areas in Airbnb. One such example is the category known as insights. When you go into that insights section, it will let you know how many persons clicked on your property. Well, let's just term it this way. It will allow you to evaluate your conversion rate. What is your conversion rate? It's the amount of persons that have either clicked on your property and then decided to book or to do an inquiry, or how many times your properties came up into the listing of properties that someone had inquired about. Now, when you go into insights, you might see that persons have been clicking a lot on your property. However, they have not been following through to do a booking. That could be due to the fact that when they begin scrolling through your photographs and reading your descriptions, they are not pleased by them. It has turned them off, and they decided not to book your property. Simple. That's one of the key indicators that you need to relook at your photographs and your descriptions. The next one is no house rules or guidelines. This can seriously impact you. If you want to have a high workload or a damaged property or a property that is completely trashed by your guest, then you can refuse to have house rules. One of the things that impacted me at the start of my journey in Airbnb is that I decided to be too nice. I didn't want to offend my guests. I didn't want to put certain rules in place just so that I can be ensured of a higher guest review. Let me draw an example for you. If you have a workplace environment that is without rules, scratch that. Bring that home. If within your house you have your kids, there are no rules, there are no guidelines, there are no restrictions, what's the likelihood that your kids or your loved ones or anyone in your household will behave accordingly or do what they're supposed to do? At the end of the day, you're going to have ill-disciplined kids. You're going to have more work to do in terms of correcting their actions. You are going to be likely to be mistreated by your partner because you did not set up your boundaries and your restrictions. And I could get into a whole other level of discussion regarding boundaries and restrictions, but I chat too much at times and go on a tangent, so let's keep it limited to here. Your guests will appreciate your property more if you have your rules and guidelines and instructions. Persons will respect your property for it, and they will abide by them. It gives you less damage to your property. It gives you less cleaning up to do afterwards. Will have your property looking better. Let's go into some examples. Have them place all dirty linens in washing machine before they leave. Have them wash up their utensils before they leave. Turn off all lights, all appliances. Unplug the refrigerator if you want them to unplug it, because you don't know, especially if you do not have a same day check out and check in. All right, but set your rules and guidelines for a more smoothly operated business. Remember, guys, as we say in Jamaica, you are not running a patty shop, you're running a business. So treat it as such, and it will be respected. The next point that we're going to be looking at is point number 9, which is unavailable or unresponsive. And this is closely tied into being highly communicative. If you're unresponsive or unattentive, this turns a guest off. As I said, viewers, imagine yourself checking into a hotel. Immediately upon entering your room, you realize that the television is not working. You take up the telephone and you dial 0 for front desk. No one answers. Or worse yet, a pleasant person answers or unpleasant person answers and promises to have the matter resolved quickly. You are in the room for the next 3 hours, the television is still not working, no one has reported. How would you feel? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that. I would be raging mad. I would want a refund. I would give a bad review. I would behave badly. That's the same way with your guest. That's why I always say, people, whether it be in relationships, whether it be in business, and I know I'm going on a tangent, treat persons how you would like to be treated. Once you treat persons how you would like to be treated, whether in your personal relationships or in business with your customers, you will reap successful rewards. So therefore, if you want to be successful, be responsive, be attentive, deal with your guests' problems as they arise, and do not delay, and they will be pleased and return and recommend you to others. Now, our last point, 10th and final, which I'm glad you stayed for, is your overall attitude as a host. What do I mean? If you have worked in customer service, in sales, in telesales or anything, you will hear them say, put a smile on your face before you answer the phone, because it will translate and reflect in your voice. Therefore, if you have an upbeat, willing to please, very important phrase, guys, willing to please. If you are just offended by me saying willing to please, then the Airbnb hospitality hosting business is not for you. You have to be willing to please. This may be the only time that the disease to please will be profitable. It will not be profitable in your personal life most of the times, because if you have the disease to please, then that speaks to an insecurity issue. And we'll speak about that in further videos. However, you must be anxious to please your guests as a host, and you must have a positive attitude, or it will reflect in your responses to your guests. Believe it or not, if you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you're upset, once a guest pings you and messages you to ask, hey, where's the nearest place that I can get some food? Your frustration will come about or come across in how you respond to them. If they're saying, hey, could I get an extra towel? If you're frustrated, it is going to come across, and they are going to sense it, and they are going to be turned off, and it will reflect in your reviews. All right. Well, as usual, thank you guys for staying the journey with me, for taking the next step, learning these little life hacks that we can take our life to the next level, because, hey, we're not here to live a limited life. We were placed here to live in abundance, to have dominion over the earth, and to be prosperous. Share this video, like, comment if you liked even a mere section of this video. It really does a lot and help us for you to subscribe and for you to like this video. It helps us to grow as a business. Okay guys, so until next time, be good, take the next steps needed, and let's live a healthy, prosperous life. Walk good.